Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Claw and the King podcast. I'm joined by my co-host, Dopey, over here. How are you today, my friend?
I'm doing very well, It's a special day.
A special day for me. Well, yeah, if you didn't know, it's my birthday. I'm turning 47, actually, so it's a momentous occasion.
47.
47, yeah, I've got a baby face, so I know. I look young, I look so dashing and handsome, I get it. But, today's not about me. It's about the world of sport, and that's our duty as sporting commentators to commentate on the actions of sport throughout the week. This morning, actually, it's kind of like my birthday. It was my birthday because just an avalanche of sporting news happened that benefited me mostly and my personal health. Now, obviously, my sport teams cannot win a game to save their lives, but
Well, United just won.
well, I mean, okay, that's even worse. I mean, I delve into it quite a bit about how my sport teams are the worst because at least if you're a terrible team, your fans have no hope. Like, my teams are good enough and are talented enough to win, but we just lose in the final moment. So, yeah, it's even worse, I'd say, because it's the hope that kills you. But the periling how Arsenal have periled this morning against Brighton was quite enjoyable to see when I woke up. Also, Doc Rivers, because fuck that guy, because he ruined two super teams. Or two championship contending teams. So, yeah, screw that guy. Anyway, so what do you reckon we should talk about first?
I reckon we'll just do all the NBA news in one chunk, and then we can move on to other stuff. But NBA, do you want to start with the off-the-court stuff or the on-the-court stuff?
We'll start on the court. I think we should sort of wrap up the sort of series and who's sort of playing each other in the conference finals. Obviously, this morning, the Game 7 between Boston and Philadelphia. Quite a rout by Boston. Jason Tatum, all-time record for Game 7 points. In a Game 7 game. I knew that would sound bad as soon as I said it. But yeah, just surpassing Steph Curry, broke it a couple weeks ago, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, this was bound to happen. I mean, Doc Rivers, once you're up in a series, you want to really be down in a series if you've got Doc Rivers as your coach, because you've got a chance of winning. If you're up,
well, not really. You're probably still
lose. But yeah, I mean, that guy is an absolute farce, and I love it every year he fails. It just proves surely you would agree, he's the most overrated coach. I don't think general fans rate him that highly, but by the media, they all are.
Well, we'll see if his job's safe. I mean, based on how many coaches he getting the sack, he's got to be gone.
If Monty Williams got the sack and he got to a literal NBA Finals a year ago, surely this guy gets fucking booted. I mean, how many?
But I mean, coming into that series, right? Philly weren't expected to win.
Yeah, but
then they do get to a lead, and then they mess it up.
No, but still, that's what happens in the playoffs. You've got to play good teams. He's okay at fucking drumming up the shit teams in the first round. But once he hasn't, I can't remember how exactly, I think it's 10 years since he got to a conference finals.
Yeah, his last year with Boston, I think?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I think it was his last year with Boston that he got to a conference finals. You think about the players that he's had throughout that span. Kawhi Leonard, Chris Paul, Blake Griffin, DeAndre. I mean, well, you think about the original Clippers team. Chris Paul, DeAndre, Blake Griffin. You've got... And then you have PG Kawhi, and a bunch of other really solid players as well on that team.
And then Harden.
Embiid. Well, firstly, Ben Simmons, who was actually good at the time. Ben Simmons, Embiid, Tobias Harris. Was he coaching? No, Jimmy Butler left with Brett Brown, didn't he?
Yeah.
But then you have James Harden, Embiid. You have a great player in Max. I mean, that Philadelphia team surely should have made the finals at some point. I know it's switched over with Ben Simmons and James Harden. One of those teams should have made the finals. And the fact that he's failed again, and obviously, I mentioned to you beforehand how sort of Kendrick Perkins said, on Twitter he tweeted that, you can't blame Doc for this. His two superstars have clearly failed. This is clearly the others, apart from Doc Rivers. And it's just like, if it happens 17 years in a row, can't really be a fluke. So yeah, it's just an absolute.
But it's just Philly in general now. This is 7. It feels like damn near 10 years in a row.
Yeah,
they've made the playoffs and haven't got past the second round.
Well, look, if they get rid of Doc, this team can go places.
But can it though? Because I just don't believe Harden's going to get worse every year. I don't believe in Embiid that much in the playoffs at this point. So
yeah, but I still think they've got a really solid team. Tobias Harris goes under the radar because he's getting paid 180 million, and he should have a bigger impact than fucking the odd 14-point a game performance.
They picked him over Jimmy Butler, so he's
Well, it's a bit of an interesting one. I think the team is good enough to win a championship as constructed. I think it's very hard to tell because you have Doc Rivers as your coach. It's very, very hard to tell if this team is good enough or not.
I think with the coaching talent that is on the market in Nick Nurse, Monty Williams, Mike Budenholzer,
I think Nick Nurse is a no-brainer, personally.
Yeah, but I think Phoenix would want him.
Phoenix may want him, but I think, firstly, I think Philadelphia is probably more of attractive of a destination. I mean, it's arguable, I think. I mean, look, you've got, obviously the Suns have got a talented team, but their depth is really shocking. Durant's, 34 right now?
35,
and look,
maybe.
They've committed to a long-term, him and Devin Booker have committed to a long-term contract with the Suns. However, you need to look at Philadelphia and say Embiid's relatively young. He hasn't been injured for the past couple of years now, or had a major injury the past couple of years. He's been sort of, I wouldn't say lucky with injuries, but he's obviously been a lot healthier. James Harden has had a sort of a renaissance of his career, sort of rebuilt his career and rebuilt his brand as a player. And you've got young players like Maxey, who's really, really solid. You've still got, even though Tobias Harris, like we mentioned, he's still a solid player. And I think if you're Philadelphia, you fire Doc as soon as he got in that locker room, and then you hire Nick Nurse because he has, he wasn't a great coach. If you speak to Raptor fans, they didn't really like him with the current crop of players that they had. But in saying that, I don't think he's suited to that type of team. I think he's suited to the star team. I think teams with talent. He showed he got to an NBA Finals with that team of talent, and he beat really solid teams, including a Philadelphia team that had Jimmy Butler, and Joel Embiid and all the works. They had a really, really good team that year. Philadelphia beat them. I'd definitely look at Nick Nurse if I was Philadelphia. He seems like a good personality. He seems like a sort of a vocal guy. And I think, he could be a good leader for that locker room.
Yeah, I mean, they may as well try something. Like, it's almost stupid to think Doc Rivers is going to get them over the line at this point. And I mean, it's same with trusting Chris Paul. I mean, Chris Paul he's gotten injured in the playoffs 10 fucking years in a row. Like, if you're going into a season expecting him to play for you in the playoffs, you're just delusional. Yeah. I mean, they've got to get rid of him instantly.
But who's going to take that contract? Who's going to take?
Well, I mean, there's only 1 year left on it.
I know, but what are you getting? That's the thing. You might as well have him because, what are you going to get in return? A second round pick, a late first.
So I reckon someone will take him for a solid player.
Really?
Yeah, I reckon not a star, but like a decent role player. I think someone would throw for Chris Paul.
Well, I mean, Philadelphia are a history of making bad moves. They'll probably give up, Maxey for him, and they'll be like,
no. But they might give up. I don't know, McDaniels and House.
Yeah, maybe not. I think obviously Philadelphia got a lot of rebuilding to do. And then if you look at the Western Conference side of things, quite an interesting sort of tale. The Lakers beating the Golden State Warriors. I mean, I did predict this. I did say that the Warriors cannot win a game away from home. And the Lakers won. So congrats to the Lakers.
But you did predict the Warriors to lose to the Kings.
Yeah, because they couldn't win away from home. And if it wasn't for the Kings, then they probably would have lost in the first round and should have. Look, I thought the Lakers played well, but I also think you watch the Warriors play and they were poor. The people are putting Lakers as sort of championship, favorites right now. The teams that they've played were poor. I mean, the Memphis Grizzlies were poor.
Yeah, but we make them look poor.
Well, yeah,
our defense is really good right now.
That's a fair argument, but also, I mean, Klay Thompson in Game 6 had all the amount of.
What do you mean, Game 6 Klay? He came to play.
I know, but and you can't say it was defensively. He had wide open shot after wide open shot, and he just bricked
that's
it.
good D. You leave the liability open.
Yeah, but this guy is supposed to be their second best player, who's supposed to be probably a top 3 shooter of all time, and he's being left wide open, and he's bricking everything.
Yeah, but
he was shocking. He was just everyone apart from Curry in this series. I feel was really, really bad for the Warriors. Wiggins was at bang average, and obviously he's been through some personal life problems. So,
does anyone actually know what it is?
Yeah, I've said it before.
I thought it was just no one. It hadn't come out. What
No,
it was.
Well, it's not official, but apparently his girlfriend or something cheated on him with his best friend. I don't. It's like around that sort of. I can't exactly remember the story. It came out a month ago or something.
Is that like?
It's around that ballpark.
Is that like needing to take 4 months away from?
Oh well, it might not. His baby. Oh, it might. I think it was to do with like, his girlfriend was pregnant or something with his child, and he had this child, and it turns out it wasn't his or something.
Oh yeah.
Like it was something like really, really bad. Obviously I don't want to speculate, obviously, because I can't exactly remember, but it was around that ballpark of.
Yeah, we'll have to check in with Andrew.
So mentally, I think he was a bit checked out this season, but yeah, I fair play to him. But I mean, Jordan Poole,
fuck mate, you suck, mate. That's turning out to be a really bad contract.
I think this season just started so bad. I think people sort of swept under the rug the Draymond Green incident in preseason. And mentally, what that would do for you if the leader of that team, the vocal leader of that team, publicly just tries to beat you up. Like, do you care about showing up early to practice or putting in that extra effort for the team when clearly this team is so... You can tell the disconnect between those Clay, Steph, and Draymond and the rest of the team is so clear. It's like 2 different teams. It's like they don't play for the same team. I mean, Kuminga is apparently... completely,
he's off Steve Kerr.
He's had a strop and he wants to get traded. I feel like half the team is with. It's just such a split team at the moment, and then that's down to coaching, because that's Steve Kerr's job is to connect the team. But it just is such a disconnected team. Feels like the old boys and Iggy and Draymond and they're all sticking together, and then like the young guys are just left by themselves, and it's just kind of. So lacks chemistry, and you could see it throughout the season. So yeah, the Lakers, good win for them, but this is their toughest test now. This is what really will separate the men from the boys. But I think it's a good matchup
for the Lakers.
Yeah, because Davis has proven that when healthy, he's probably the best big man defender in the league.
Yeah, for sure.
Who's the Nuggets' main threat? Jokic.
But Jokic, the way he plays is pretty much impossible to defend because he's Doncic but 7 foot tall.
Yeah.
So
that was something that you sort of watch and you're like, okay, this is why he was a 2-time MVP in the last series. He was absolutely stunning. When you watch the games, his ability just to dissect a defense, either through shooting. I mean, his finishing around the rim was so impressive. His footwork, he just plays at his own pace, and he was an elite player. And surely Nick Wright, who hates Jokic, who's like shouldn't have won back-to-back MVP. Surely he's watching it going, probably should have maybe won one of them.
Nuggets are scary. They do look very good.
Oh, but did you see Mark Jackson when he didn't have Jokic in his top 5 MVPs?
Oh, didn't.
And he had to Charles Barkley publicly like he didn't know it was Mark Jackson at that point, and he was like roasting the vote.
Oh, was it just like an anonymous vote?
Yeah,
and it was Mark Jackson's.
Yeah, and Mark Jackson owned up to it. And he's like, fair play to him. He's like, oh, I made a mistake, and it's like,
what? So he just forgot he existed.
Yeah. Well, I think he presented it as like, well, he just picked 2 guards, 2 forwards, and a center, and he had Joel Embiid as the MVP. So it was kind of like he just mixed it up.
So he thought he was voting for All NBA.
I don't know how he exactly framed it, but it was kind of along those lines.
Right.
But yeah, it was a bad one. But anyway,
they do look good. I mean, Murray's a fucking beast in the playoffs. He's another one of those guys that goes from like less than an all-star to a star.
Well, he just has memorable moments. He's a very he is not allergic to a sexy play. Let's put it that way. I remember in the bubble when he did that crazy layup over like LeBron and AD and stuff, and that was bananas. But yeah, they've got a really solid team. I think Bruce Brown's a really underrated option for them. His rebounding, and And then you've also got, Michael Porter Jr., who doesn't pass the ball. The memes on Michael Porter Jr. is just hilarious.
But he gets a lot in. I mean,
yeah, like you watch him play, he does not pass the ball. If he gets more than an assist a game, it's
they've worked it out to not give him the ball very often.
Yeah, but that's the thing. He also shoots, he just chucks the ball up, but he's like Jalen Green if he made his shots. He makes 43% of his threes or something like that. He crazy efficiency, but he just doesn't pass the ball. If he's got a wide open teammate in the corner, he's like, "No, I'm chucking this."
You're not him, mate. I'm him.
Yeah, I kind of understand his mentality though, because he grew up as like a generational talent, the number one talent in high school.
He was the guy.
He didn't pass the ball, and he got a terrible back injury, and he's like, I'm not going to change. I was a prodigy. I'm still a prodigy, bitch. I don't care if I'm the third best player.
I'm pushing 30. I'm still a prodigy.
Yeah. I don't care if I'm the fourth best player on this team. I'm shooting the ball. But yeah, he's been solid. So it's going to be a really tough test for the Lakers. I think I'll pick the Nuggets because I just don't, even though Jokic's scoring may be down, I think the Lakers don't have enough defenders that could stop everybody. I think there's too many offensive pieces that the Nuggets have that I just think LeBron is. I don't think he can match up with MPJ at this point. Look.
Wow.
Offensively maybe, but defensively he's still a bit dodgy. And look, you may say if it's a game 6 or a game 7, he'll go all out, sure. But maybe in the early games he might sort of be a bit lacking on that front. But yeah, we'll see. I think it'll be a really interesting series. These are the two matchups we wanted to see based on what the conference finals, conference semifinals turned out, in my opinion. You wanted Heat Celtics. You wanted Nuggets Lakers. In terms of playoff performance, those were the best playoff performers this season.
And it's a 7th seed and an 8th seed.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Crazy.
Yeah, 2 playing teams making the imagine that if they both made it to the finals.
I would love that. Another Jimmy LeBron finals matchup.
Yeah,
see my boy,
can't lose.
Jimmy Butler.
You can't lose. But anyway, I think that's the talk about the play-in, the actual NBA, or the actual gameplay.
Lakers in 5.
Lakers in 5. What are you taking Celtics in?
Heat in 7.
Oh, Heat in 7. Interesting.
Reversal of last year. Heat and the Celtics have been conference finals 3 out of the past 4 years.
But yeah, sort of talking about that Heat-Knicks series, actually. I made a take earlier in this year when, I think it was maybe during free agency. It was last year, actually. So during free agency, when Jalen Brunson signed for the New York Knicks, I may or may not have made a take that Brunson got overpaid, which is kind of turned out to be the complete opposite because he was probably the most underpaid player in the league. Yeah, he was stunning in that series. I mean, was it game 6 where in that fourth quarter, he was literally I think he was the only person that scored. Like an actual basket, there wasn't a free throw.
I think he had 12 or 13 field goals and the rest of the entire team had 12 or 13 field goals.
Yeah, it was crazy. They stunk up. Do you see all the Knicks fans on the Julius Randle poster? They tore it down.
Yeah, I see Stephen A. Julius Randle, I'm done. Trade this man.
Oh, but actually talking about, we'll talk about it later, but he sort of maybe he said just by default RJ Barrett might be the best.
Yeah, I saw that. That was funny.
Top 3 picks just by default, not even by his play. But yeah, it was such a weird New York. It was kind of destined to happen if you're a New York Knicks fan. They've been. If any New York Knicks fan had hope that they would, make it to the conference finals, you're a bit deluded. Even you could play anybody and you'd probably lose.
You'd have to have hope when you see you're not playing Milwaukee. You'd have to go, even though Jimmy Butler's clearly the best player in the series, you'd still go, this isn't the team we expected. We can do something
this
here.
Team had inconsistencies throughout the year. We can beat them. They don't have Tyler Hero. But, I mean, they just shot so bad offensively.
Tom Thibodeau is does he understand there's more than 5 players on your team?
Yeah, but I also think their depth is really bad as well.
Just throw Evan Fournier out there. See if he can make a few threes.
Yeah, that was probably the one guy that probably you should have put in. I mean, your team is struggling badly for offense, and you have no one that can score a bucket outside of Jalen Brunson. Surely you bring the guy who's on $78 million to hit a few threes because he can score.
Yeah.
Look, he's a bit hot and cold, but he can score.
Yeah, but I mean, RJ Barrett's out there going 1 for 10. There's no point. If Fournier goes 0 for 5, who cares? It's the same result.
Yeah. Well, again, he's a lot better defensively, RJ Barrett, but yeah, you've got to try other things, and I just think even with depth, that you have like Quinn Grimes and getting major minutes, Obi Toppin getting major minutes, and it's just like this team is not. It's really just a hard-working team. It's really just a grafting team, and you get those in the playoffs, but they were destined to get knocked out. The Heat just have too much quality. It's good to see Duncan Robinson get in there. Obviously,
making some shots.
Well, yeah, everyone was criticizing his contract. He's on 94 mil. And it's good to see him sort of getting minutes because it's a bit sad for him if he's just sitting on and he has a podcast as well, and it's just getting roasted about.
It just doesn't get as many views when he's not on the court.
Yeah. But yeah, it's good to see him. I thought Max Strus was really, really good in that game 6 or throughout.
He's been good. Vincent's been good.
So yeah, I think the Heat can definitely mount a challenge against the Celtics. So
and apparently Hero's like close.
Really? I thought he broke his leg.
No, it was his hand.
Oh, I broke his hand.
Yeah, but he's ahead of schedule apparently. He was meant to come back if they made the finals, which is kind of soon, and he's ahead of schedule apparently, so he could be back this series.
That's interesting. That is very interesting. But yeah, I still think Celtics, but they've looked dodgy.
They have. I mean, Joe Mazzulla is getting a lot of stick for the Celtics struggling to make the finals from being the favourites for the championship pretty much. I mean, dropping a couple games to Atlanta, that's not a good look. And then obviously dropping 3 to Philly, 1 without Embiid even playing.
Yeah.
So,
and they by far and away depth-wise. In terms of playoff depth, I mean, teams of depth, like in terms of players that can play it up to 10-man, or you can have a 10-man rotation, but up to like 7 or 8 players, the Celtics are really, really solid.
yeah.
And you put on Brogdon and you put on Derek White, there isn't that much of a difference when they get put on. In fact, you could argue there's a boost when they get put on the court. So they've got a real playoff roster. And I think Tatum was, if you watch that game 6, where it's a closeout game for Philly at home, and
that was their chance.
Stunk it up. Absolutely stunk it up for 3 quarters. Made 1 out of 14 or whatever it was. And then just to have the confidence to hit clutch 3 after clutch 3 in that 4th quarter, that really won them the game. He won them the game late in that game. And yeah, props to him. He had a great game at Game 7 today. And yeah, he's kind of emerging. That's what great players do. I mean, Kobe did that so often. He had terrible shooting performances, but hit clutch shot after clutch shot. And yeah, that's what playoff basketball is about. That's what,
in the space of 5 quarters, like at the end of the 3rd quarter of Game 6, it was like, oh my God, Tatum is finished. This is it for him. He is completely washed. And then 4th quarter, he goes out, they win the game, and then he destroys them in Game 7. Now it's like, oh, he's the next MVP.
Yeah. But yeah, really, really interesting playoff matchups. Playoff matchups that you want to see. You didn't want to see friggin' Denver and Golden State. I mean, I would have been so uninterested in that. Maybe all the bandwagon fans would be, but who knows? But yeah, and you wouldn't want to see Knicks and Sixers. Oh, could you imagine that?
No,
that would stink.
That would have been dead.
But yeah, really, really cool series, and hopefully it's goes late into Game 6s and Game 7s in the next.
I think this has been one of the best playoffs.
Yeah, it's been solid.
Since 16, I reckon this has been the best playoffs.
The Clippers got knocked out early, which was good, so I could just not worry the whole time, and I could just watch the basketball without being fucking stressed out. But yeah, talking about NBA, maybe off the court, it's a parade inside my city, yeah. Yeah, Ja Morant, he likes to, what does he like to do? He likes to sort of go to strip clubs a bit.
Well,
he likes to sort of brandish weaponry about. So yeah, if you didn't know, this morning, he was on an IG live with like 100 viewers with his mate. Who had 100 literal viewers. I don't know how, he's probably brandished it there because like, fuck, there's no one watching. Who's going to fucking know? But yeah, he's singing rap lyrics again, which is fine, but it's a bit weird, mate. It's like, you don't have to just keep on doing it. And then he just flashes a gun in the middle of it. And it got a bigger gun as well. It's not even like a...
yeah,
like
and you can see the like his mate realizes he's like, flashing, and he hides the phone. But
he's like, oh shit, sorry, Jar. Yeah, Jar. By the way, the IG Live, like, why are you going on IG Live still, bro? Like, we all know the apology was fake. We all know, like, you weren't going to rehab and you didn't fucking care. Like, we all knew that. But at least don't go on IG. What is the point? Like, why? He just surrounded himself by idiots. And he's become idiotic.
He is an idiot.
He went to private school and he had, like, his own... He had, like, went to Murray State. Was just a nice little point guard that was really athletic. Was, the face of the league, essentially. And the guy just hangs around fucking fake gangsters for the fun of it. I mean, again, the meme about him he made it out the league into the hood or something. Like, it's
first guy to do it.
First guy to make it out the league into the gangs. Oh god!
But, I mean, he's pushing his luck. I mean, he's gonna get a big suspension from this.
What the hell? Like, imagine all the memes about like this PR. It's like his PR people. He's just like waking up to the news. He's like, oh god, oh god.
What's T doing this morning?
Oh yeah, what's on Twitter this morning? Oh fuck me,
fucking Jar.
But yeah, the guy's just an idiot. He's just an absolute idiot.
And they had like that's what Stephen A said. RJ Barrett's the best player in that draft by default because Zion's a flob. And Jar just brandishes guns all the time.
Yeah, I think his direct quote was Zion because of the injuries, and Jar because he's an idiot, or he's like just.
And they had Jalen Rose on that panel as well, who obviously did the interview with Jar after the first discussion, and you could tell he was like trying to defend Jar, but he also knew that he couldn't really defend him without looking like an idiot.
Yeah.
So he came across a bit weird, but yeah, I mean, he's really. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if Nike just drop him and cancel his shoes because, I mean, they dropped Kyrie.
No, but it's different, though.
Is it different?
Yeah.
Twice in 2 months?
Because you're not going to get cancelled over it. That's the difference. Kyrie would... Cause he's,
but a gun can do way more damage than...
Yeah, but he's not going to get cancelled over it. That's the problem. Like,
well, in my opinion...
In my opinion, it's worse as well. But, you know, especially the higher ups, a lot of them are... and this is not being anti-Semitic or anything, but they are of, you know, obviously he's, you know, my friend here is a bit Jewish, but...
Whoa, don't expose that, bro.
Don't expose my private life. But no, obviously there are Jewish people within the business.
Within the world, they do exist.
Yeah, probably within the higher ups in Nike as well. There are probably Jewish people all around Nike. And I think it impacted maybe some of their employees, what Kyrie Irving did. And obviously he didn't do too much, but I mean... He was kind of on the Kanye West bandwagon, but yeah, I think brandishing a gun isn't hurtful to any particular racial group or anything, but it's just so dumb and it's just so disappointing for the guy because he was the brightest star in the league and he will not be remembered for his dunks or his great play or how he's, you know, such a great player. He won't be remembered for that. He'll be remembered for the fact that he just is a wannabe gangster. And it's just, like we said the first time, like, it's just cringy. It's not...
It's just such a weird thing to want to be.
Yeah, like, it's just cringy. Like, mate, you're on a $200 million contract. Like, what are you doing? You're not in the hood. You're not fucking in trap houses selling dope. You're literally an NBA player. You don't have to pretend to be something else. Like, DeMar DeRozan was in a fucking... He was a bit clicked up before he went into the NBA. And ever since he's been in the NBA, you don't hear anything because he's living his life with his family because he realized that he doesn't have to do that anymore.
I mean, half the NBA comes from the hood. Yeah. And they all realize, okay,
I'm here now.
I've done my job.
Yeah.
I've made it out.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want.
But, I mean, I guess he didn't grow up in the hood, so he doesn't understand.
Yeah, he's trying to get in there. And he's like, bro, he got in the NBA so he could get in there. So he could get the street crowd. It's just like...
I wouldn't be surprised if he just moved to Chicago.
Yeah, I want to summon the Bulls.
I demand a trade.
But yeah, it's just crazy to me. And yet, in my opinion, he should be suspended for the whole season, whole of next season.
Whole season, wow.
Well, he needs to learn his lesson. I mean, obviously, his suspension was for it was such a puny little suspension.
It ended up being like 2 games because he was away for 6 of them or something in rehab.
It was just so stupid.
Yeah. I think, on the first ESPN, I think they said like they would expect 20 and 25 games or something.
It's surely way more than that. He's just, I mean, I don't want to be on the the gun violence side, like just pointing up political points, but he's promoting gun violence. Obviously he's not shooting anyone, but he's fucking brandishing guns all over the place. You've got to be smarter than that. And he's obviously, his fan base is full of a lot of young kids who idolize the guy, and you can't just be, showing off guns and showing off just stupid shit. And yeah, I think he should be suspended for the whole year. I don't think there's any other way to. You've got to get it out of his. I don't know how you're going to get out of his system. Maybe that's what he wants. He wants to be cut off from the NBA so he can get in the gangs again. But I just don't. I don't know.
Do you reckon there's like a recruitment process from the gangs where they all go around and pitch themselves to Ja on why he should join them?
Yeah, maybe it's a draft. Maybe
like he's the number one pick.
Yeah, he's the number one pick in the draft. Oof, that could happen. Maybe they televise it. That'd be cool.
Yeah,
and he's like, oh my god, this is what I've wanted my whole life.
And they do like a Western Texas standoff, and like first one to shoot each other, and then the winner gets Ja.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I rate that. They should televise that. ESPN, maybe
ESPN 2, maybe.
Yeah. Oh,
or they can do it on. They can do it on Power Slap.
Yeah, Dana will probably let it on. To be fair, Dana's no idea.
Yeah,
we're doing an old Western standoff. Whoever doesn't die wins 10 grand.
It's safer than Power Slap because you don't get brain damage.
Yeah, if you shoot them in the head, you're disqualified. It's got to aim for the torso or the leg. But yeah, just so disappointing from Ja. So disappointing.
Yeah.
Moving on, talking about sort of off the field antics. Our buddy that we saw in a pub one time, formerly, I should say. Is he been officially fired yet?
He's been stood down for the moment.
I'd
be surprised to see him again, if I'm honest.
I see him tonight. He's just on there. He's like, they do it like straight from jail.
It's just like Chuck Whiten. How is he taking less money?
The Panthers are fucking grubs. The whole lot of them. Jerome Luai is a grub. But yeah, I think obviously we're talking about Paul Kent, who
if you don't know who he is a NRL reporter, most notably on NRL 360.
Yeah.
Which was probably the best show in rugby league on television.
The Matty John show is a bit better.
Okay, well,
best like informative.
Yeah. Probably no longer though.
Well, Ben Eiking, didn't he leave the Broncos?
Yeah, but he's joined Queensland.
Oh, has he?
Yeah.
Well, maybe after that, maybe he'll come back, and Braith will be like an analyst or something. I don't know, but yeah, it's a bit. Paul Kent obviously got arrested for apparently
choking a woman.
Yeah, choking the woman in his house. Apparently his partner or something of that nature. I don't know if they were married.
I don't think he has a partner.
But yeah, I mean, we may have seen him and this woman before. Funny enough, a couple of years ago, or 1 or 2 years ago, in a pub. So yeah, I don't know if it's the same woman. Probably not. But
yeah, but I mean, so yeah, he's like 53 or something.
And she was 32.
And she was like, 32. And it doesn't surprise me really, because when we have seen this man in action, and I mean,
no, he wasn't doing anything bad.
He wasn't doing anything bad, but I mean, it's just the type of to be going out with women that much younger than you when you're that type of age.
I mean, that's not bad. 52 and 30, 50.
I know, but like,
50
if you haven't got like a family or a partner or anything, and you're going around to local pubs with a bunch of 18-year-olds there, it's like, okay.
But yeah, it's a bit of a weird one. Obviously, you watch him all the time. Obviously, NRL 360.
But he does come across as like a dickhead.
Oh yeah, he does as an aggro guy. He does come across, but you'd assume he just takes it out on Jerome Luai. He doesn't take it out on his partner.
Well, I remember I yelled out to him. I think I was like, "Oh, Kenty," and he was like, he did not seem happy to see me.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a tough. Obviously, he's innocent until proven guilty, but it does seem like he's quite guilty. Yeah, it's just
no fault, stand down policy.
Yeah, but yeah, it's a very sort of sad situation for him personally. It's very just disappointing, really. It's just to see a guy that you see so much on TV just be so abusive to his partner, and hopefully gets full, justice of the law if he is guilty.
There's so many players just not celebrating this, but they're thinking, oh, this is what he deserves.
Well, I think it's like,
It's been a mess.
I think a lot of people on social media were like, this is not surprising whatsoever. I think that was more like the stance of social media.
Like he's a guy that makes a living off shitting on other people, pretty much. So it's kind of ironic what's happened.
Yeah. It's a bit interesting. A lot of people were sort of speculating that Ricky Stewart would be like crying in the press conference because they're like best buddies. Apparently, he's got all this inside information. Paul Kent's had all this inside information about Ricky. They're like best buddies. It's crazy. I was crazy when I saw it in the morning. I was like, what's going on? I mean, that is completely and utterly bizarre. And I just don't. He's not probably, especially if the charges are found out to be true. He'll just never get an opportunity again in the league. And
also I think I saw Jared Hayne just got 4 years of jail or something.
He did.
Yeah,
he did. He was for a different situation. It'd be interesting if when we go to America or when you go to America and you're like, where are you from? Oh, Australia. Oh, isn't that Jared Hayne guy playing?
Hayne playing?
Yeah, he played in the NFL. How's he doing? And in the NRL, I'm like, well, he might have chomped on private parts and he's now in jail for 4 years. So not the best. But him and Paul Kenty, that's what
they'll be there together.
There was a lot of memes also about like I was just rinsing Jared Hayne for his behaviour. And they do a live stream from jail with him and Jared Hayne. But yeah, it's a bit interesting that he's going to prison, and it's just crazy. I don't know who's going to be his replacement. I mean,
I don't know. Because no one else. Really
the show's on supposedly going to be on tonight. I mean, I don't know.
Is it?
Well, I mean, it goes on every Monday night. I mean, I don't know.
I feel like they're going to have to cancel it.
How? But they can't just not address it. You've got to address it.
Well, slightly different, but they postponed MasterChef when the judge died.
Yeah, but he's dead. This is a criminal case. It'd be funny if they just completely just don't acknowledge it. They just start the show with just a random person.
I'd like to thank the traditional custodians of the land.
Yeah.
And now we will begin.
But it's always him and Braith that start the show. It'd be just funny if him and Buzz just started the show. Braith and Buzz just start the show.
And Buzz is just like, this is my time.
They just don't acknowledge it was.
And then, they just get Hoops on.
Yeah, Hoops.
And then Brandy.
Yeah, some Brandy.
Brandy, how many Panthers are you going to pick this week?
So who's going to be the Origin 6 this week? The Roosters are in shambles. But it's quite funny to see how they sort of address it tonight. But that's the Paul Kenty story. Talking about football, I think we should just briefly talk about it. Man United won, which was good on the weekend. But this morning, actually, Arsenal, not officially, but technically officially, bottled the title, losing 3-0 to Brighton at home. Remember when they sort of made fun of Man United for losing to Brighton 1-0 in the last minute a week ago? Well, you lost 3-0 at home in a title decider. So, joke's on you, mate. Joke's on you, Arsenal fans. Good on ya. Losing 3-0 at home to Brighton. Watching Arsenal fan TV this morning. It was a great birthday present. Great birthday present.
Didn't one of the guys on there go to jail?
Yeah, DT. Yeah, he it seems to be going around. It seems like a flu almost. It's going around. He apparently caught his ex-wife in bed with another man in a hotel. He tracked her on his phone.
Oh, right.
Went to the hotel and beat up his girlfriend and the guy.
Right.
So yeah, it wasn't great, and apparently she was a mother of his children as well. So not the best look, mate. Went to prison, blamed his absence on mental health. Because everyone was wondering where DT was, and he was just like, "Oh, I'm taking a mental health break. I'm not there mental," and he was just in prison. Watching Arsenal fan TV this morning was great. Just to see Ty and all them just blame.
Is Ty the one with the headphones?
Yeah, just him. He went after De Zerbi he's a Brighton manager because he said something about Arsenal. And he's like, he's a fucking scumbag. He just completely avoided. Don Robbie literally walks up behind him, like when your mum just like comes and just scolds him. Like, you've got to be humble. You've got to be humble in defeat sometimes. But yeah, Arsenal have officially bolted the title, and all those Arsenal fans are, oh god, it's so great because all those Arsenal fans at Christmas that had there was one Cecil who's on AFTV who had I don't know if I've mentioned this before. Had a Premier League table for his Christmas. It was like just before Christmas. the Premier League table as a T-shirt, and they had a mug and was like, "Merry Christmas, you filthy animals," or something, and it was just like, "Fuck off, like just fuck off. I do not want to see your face right now." And I just wonder how he's going. I just wonder how he's feeling. How's that humble pie treating you? And all the Twitter Arsenal fans, and it's just such a great sort of thing to see. So, yeah, Arsenal officially bottled the title. Obviously, you don't want Man City winning it, but I'd rather them win it than Arsenal, if I'm honest.
United should finish top 4 now, right?
Yeah, we should do. We're 4 points ahead of the drop of Liverpool with a no, not with the game in hand. So yeah, we're just 4 points ahead of Liverpool with 3 games left.
So if you win 2, you're sweet.
If we win 2, you're sweet. Really, if you win 1, you should be sweet. But Liverpool are in red hot form at the moment. I think they've won 7 or 8 in a row, so which is a bit crazy. But yeah, it's hopefully we pull through. Obviously, you do not want to be in Europa League from this position at all. Champions League is the paramount, and hopefully you can win the FA Cup as well. We're in the FA Cup final against City, obviously, which would be a big game. So yeah, a lot of football ahead. I'm really excited.
Champions League final.
Champions League, obviously, Man City, Real Madrid drew 1-1 at the Bernabeu, so they'll be in the Etihad Stadium for the second leg. And please, Real Madrid, do us a favour.
There's no way Real Madrid can win again.
They said that every year. They've won like 7 of the last 8.
Yeah, that is ridiculous.
Yeah, well, they've got a chance to. Look, I think City have the advantage. Obviously, getting a result away from home and then having the home leg, you have more chance of winning. So, yeah, I think City are at the advantage right now, but it's Real Madrid to play for, honestly.
Who's the other team? Milan.
The Milan team. Inter Milan kind of dominated.
Well?
No, Inter Milan kind of dominated. They won 2-0 away from home, even though they play in the same place, which is a bit silly. But yeah, it's. I think it probably will be Inter Milan in that final, and hopefully it's Inter Milan, Real Madrid, because I cannot see fucking Inter Milan beating City. I cannot see it whatsoever. They're okay, but they're not really that good. But it would be funny if because Dzeko plays for Inter Milan. Edin Dzeko just scores the last minute winner as a payback for that fucking Aguero goal.
Isn't he old?
He is old. He's fucking like 36 or whatever.
Still kicking.
Still kicking about. I think he scored as well against AC Milan, which is interesting. So yeah, hopefully Inter Milan and Real Madrid go through to the next round. Do you have anything else you'd like to mention? Obviously, Oscar's in a bit of a rush.
I've got a little bit. No, I mean on soccer, I think that's all good. Do we want to talk about Origin? Because the teams will be picked.
We can do
before we do the next episode.
Okay, so Origin, we can do a bit. I don't think we should pick the teams. Maybe just do the main key sort of talking points, because there's obvious sort of fill-ins that you'd go for. But obviously the main sort of positions that are being talked about at the moment. I know Oscar's keen to probably say that Dylan Edwards should be number 1. I think he's probably going to present that viewpoint. But I think we all know Tedesco's going to get picked. So yeah, that's not really much of a talking point. But the centres, who do you have in your Origin centres?
Centres, I've got...
Because I think Adokar is more likely to be playing on the wing. I think that's sort of the talk of the town at the moment, that Adokar is going to be picked on the wing.
Yeah. So I got Stephen Crichton and Campbell Graham.
Is that sarcasm?
No, okay. Latrell can go in.
Okay, thank God. Oh, God.
Latrell and Crichton.
I thought you were serious there. Latrell and Crichton.
Yeah. Crichton's been good this year.
Better than Campbell Graham.
I think he's better in attack.
No way. Campbell Graham's got like the most tries as a centre.
Yeah, but I mean, he plays in a good team. He just gets fed the ball.
Crichton plays in a good team.
Yeah, well, they're not coming first.
Campbell Graham's literally revolutionised that right-hand side. The Bunnies could only score on the left-hand side.
But
last year.
I
just
don't feel like Campbell Graham's up for Origin. I don't know.
Right. Okay. I think you are the only person that think Crichton should be picked over Campbell Graham. I think you must be. Even like Stephen Crichton would think Campbell Graham.
I do think Campbell Graham will get picked ahead of him, but I would like to see Critter get in there.
Well, look, I wouldn't be surprised, actually, because you've got 2 fucking former Panthers legends that pick the team. So, let's be real. If they can pick Tyrone Peachy, they will. I mean,
he just had a great game.
Yeah, well, it's not hard to do against
two
the
tries,
Roosters at the moment.
150 metres.
Yeah, we get it. That was a fucking bad day at the pub. Jesus, I lost money on the slaps and then had to watch the Roosters get beat 48-4. Probably the worst pub experience you could probably have, really. But anyway, you've got so those are your centres. My centres, obviously, Latrell and Campbell Graham. The most obvious pick for me. Turbo, I know talent-wise and what in previous years, but I think this running coach has just done a disservice to it. Like, I get it. You don't want to be injured all the time.
He was only there for like 1 week.
It's like, we get it. You don't want to be injured all the time, but like you
You're
run like a fucking prop now. Like, you have no speed anymore. You get
no,
run down by
you have
forwards.
no agility.
Like, what's the point of you if you're just slow? You
Yeah,
might as well
think
just get injured every like 6 weeks, and then but in those 6 weeks you're.
I think you've just got to hope that you've done enough work to strengthen the hammies now, and then just try and run normally.
Yeah, just run normal. Like, you get injured, you get injured. It's like, well, your running style induces injuries. It's like, well, tough titties. All right, just soldier on, get injured if you do, and then we'll talk about how big of what could have been in your career. All right, play Origin, please.
Yeah, I wouldn't be mad if they picked Turbo.
I would be. He doesn't deserve to be picked. He is. You're picking him off last Origin that he played.
Yeah, but he was like the best player in the world then.
Yeah, I know, but he's not the same player. He does not run the same.
Look, is Tedesco the same player?
But he's nowhere near as bad as Turbo.
He hasn't been great.
He's been probably league average, but Turbo's been worse than league average. Campbell Graham, by far and away, has been the best centre in the league for me this season. So you've got to pick him. That's just how it goes for me. And yeah, so the wingers, though. So Josh Adokar would be picked. Who do you reckon the other winger would be?
It has to be Toto.
Has to be Toto. I agree. So you'd be Toto and Adokar. A bit small, but it'd work.
They played 2 years ago. That was the wing combination. They were fucking incredible. That was the year we absolutely obliterated Queensland.
Yeah.
So, and we went away with it from it last year for no reason.
Yeah.
And it
well, yeah,
us.
I agree. Number 6.
6. Look, Luai's pretty much guaranteed it now after last week.
What the Roosters do to me. We lost that badly that Luai is actually going to get picked now, which he does not deserve to do whatsoever. I get it. He had man of match performance. Great. He's been absolutely bang average the entire season. Absolutely bang average. With Coruscant gone, you needed another playmaker in that team to step up. You need Luai to take an extra step up. He's taken a step down. So how can he be picked? It's just written on the wall. It's just written in the stars that he will get picked and he'll absolutely stink it up.
Yeah, because I would like to see Hines there. If I'm honest,
100% should be 6.
But does Hines get 14 then?
Yeah, that's what they'll do. They'll put Hines at 14.
But I don't even know if they will because Joey's in Freddie's here. He's like, you need 2 hookers, bro. You need 2 hookers, bro.
Oh, did you see Joey and Matty Johns? Were on they did like a podcast together. And
no.
Matty's like just hyping up like Queensland. He's like giving major respect to Queensland and shit. He's talking about how good they've been, and Joey's like, mate, shut the fuck up. I don't give a rat's ass what team they're gonna pick. Whatever they pick. I don't care about Queensland. We need to focus on ourselves.
Yeah.
He's just absolutely.
He's like the most
brother.
competitive dude you've ever seen. Like
he's like, why are you talking about Queensland? Shut up.
When they lost, I don't know if it was last year or the year before. They had him on TV.
Did you see the James? Was it Bracey?
Yeah,
he was on. Was he Bloke in a Bar?
Yeah,
and he was talking about it, and it was just like you have to feel bad for him in that moment because he's surrounded by He's in a corner where there's just like 5,000 Queensland fans just screaming at him, and then he's also sat next to former Queensland players, and he's just in Suncorp, and he's just this team's just lost in a nail biter, and he's just sitting there going, "Fuck, we've got to listen to this." And it just feels so bad for him. And once you get the sort of perspective of it, you do. Yeah, so it was a fun little anecdote that I thought was a good sort of. It had a couple of good clips in there.
And because I don't like James Bracey as an on-air talent. He's just a bit weird to me. But, had a solid interview.
I think sometimes Channel 9 can be a bit awkward. But I think
their commentary is awful. But
yeah, I don't mind their commentators. I think Cameron Smith was a decent one. I think Joey's a good one. I think Freddie's reasonably good. I like Gus when Gus goes on.
Their colour commentators are alright, but the play-by-play suck.
Yeah. So yeah, what was I? So what were we doing? It's number 6. Should be Hines for me. You want it to be Hines, but you think it'll be Luai.
I think it'll be Luai. But I do think it should be Hines. Because he's just fucking good. And I don't like on the bench. Hook is hard because Cook and Coruscant are still. Probably,
I wouldn't pick Cook at all. I wouldn't.
You wouldn't?
No, I don't. I know we want to follow this Queensland model, but like,
true. I think they should just pick one.
But do your own thing. Do what you think is. Don't make a choice on what you think Queensland are going to do. Cook he's been okay, but defensively, I think he's suspect defensively. I think he's really suspect defensively, especially this season. I think you've got to go Coruscant at 9. And I think Coruscant can play a full game. And if you need to, put someone in the...
Yeah, I mean, Hines can play 9.
Hines can play 9.
Or Luai can play 9. Throw Hines at 6.
Yeah, you can do... There's a lot of different players that you could pick at that position to do the business. So, yeah, you've got to put Hines in starting 6 for me personally, but I definitely think Luai will be picked as well. So, yeah. Those are the key positions. So, you go Coruscant at 9 as well.
I'd have Coruscant ahead. Even though the Tigers at last, he's been their best player easily. And you can still see he's good. It's just that no one around him can help him. Like he'll make a little half break, which would have led to a try last year, but there's just no one pushing in support, or the shape isn't where it's meant to be, or whatever. So I think you got to hope that if you put good players around him, he'll be sweet, and just go with him, because we don't really have Harry Grant, like. Queensland's spine is fucking scary. I mean, years gone by, they've had a dead set shit team, but I mean, Ponga just played a great game. He's looking scary. If not him, Reece Walsh has been fucking amazing.
Where did Ponga play? I didn't watch the game. Did he play fullback or 6?
He played 6, but he scored 2 tries, set up 2 tries.
How's his tackling?
I didn't watch the game, but
okay,
I saw his highlights. But I mean, if he's at fullback, he doesn't need a tackle.
Yeah.
Munster's obviously the best 6 in the comp. He can win a series by himself pretty much, and Harry Grant's the best hooker in the comp. So
they've got a good spine. They've got a couple of grubs in the forward pack. Yeah, they're a really good Queensland team this year. I think we missed an event. I mean, how they've won 2 of the last 4 is a fucking joke. We have by far in that span have been a much better team. On paper, definitely. So look, but again, we've been quite unlucky with injuries as well. In those series that we've lost, we didn't have Latrell or Turbo. So I think
we still should have won.
I know, but when you watch them played Origin together. I know I don't want Turbo in my team, but when you watch those Turbo and Latrell when they were fit and healthy playing Origin together, we just overrun them. We absolutely overrun them. And it's not like we beat them, 24-2. We beat them 50-0. So look, hopefully Latrell can have that kind of difference. I think Latrell's an excellent Origin player. I think he is probably our X factor. So it'll be interesting. I don't think their centers are that good, though. That you say they got a good spine.
Queensland?
Yeah. I think their centers are really weak.
Val Holmes is pretty good. Gagai's pretty good.
Is he?
No, he's not good, but he is for Queensland.
Yeah, well, but he was really shocking up until Game 3 last year.
Yeah, true. I mean, but I feel like they have options. Like, you throw really. Cobbo in the centers.
Corey Allen.
Throw Hammer in the centers.
Oh, I don't think Hammer's a center. But yeah, look, I think Queensland have got a good team, but I do think there's definite holes there. I don't think New South Wales have that many holes. I think Payne Haas, best forward in the league this year. He's really come on and been unbelievable. Queensland do have good forwards as well. They've got obviously Carrigan, and they'll probably have Flagler in there. But I think Papali might be sort of cut out. Maybe I think
he'll be in there.
He might be on the bench, but I wouldn't imagine he'd be starting. Surely they go Lindsay Collins or Flagler.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, it'll be a very good series, hopefully. Hopefully New South Wales win, though.
So we got to win game 1, I think.
Got to win game 1.
Yeah,
well, we have a history of not doing that.
That's where we've lost the series that we've lost because of Freddie's incompetence. So basically, the series will be won and lost on Sunday when the teams are picked. Because game 1's neutral in Adelaide, so we need to win that because we're probably not going to win in Suncorp. And then hopefully we can win at home.
Hopefully. Well, we'll see. When is the first game? Is it next week?
It's the 31st.
31st. So tune in, folks.
So it'll be the Wednesday.
Tune in, folks, to... When's the Origin team going to be announced?
Sunday, I think.
Tune in for that as well. Great. Tune in for that shit show of a fucking team that Freddie's going to pick. Probably going to pick friggin' Suwali on the wing.
Oh, God, I forgot about that.
Yeah, it'll be a shocker.
Genuinely. If Suwali's in there, it just has to be over for Freddie.
Even before the game,
we can't let him make it to the game. He has to be removed.
He has to be fired before the game.
Like, they need to get a SWAT team in there and just remove him from the office.
You could hire him. You could hire like a group of your own private militia to get him over.
Or I could just hire like John Morant. He could probably do it for me.
Oh yeah, I mean he'd do it for free for the rep. But yeah, good chat today.
Anything else? Oh, did you see the KSI thing?
I did. He elbowed
That
it.
was just funny to me.
Oh, it's so. The funny part was that like after he won, he was doing like motivational stuff, and he was on like Twitter, and he was like,
I'm almost to the point where I want Jake Paul to beat him.
yeah,
Like, I kind of don't like KSI anymore.
and he's like. And he's just like, yeah, what a great win. And he's watching the fight highlights back. And he's like, yeah. And it's like,
cringe.
bro.
You clearly
like,
elbowed him.
you probably would have won the fight, but you elbowed him in the face.
Yeah, like, and the thing is, like, he obviously owns the promotion. Like, if they want to be taken seriously, it has to be overturned to a DQ or a no contest at least.
Yeah.
Like,
but he won't do that because it's just it'll be a blemish on his record.
yeah, but I mean, it's just, like... He fully knocked him out with an elbow.
It was an accident. I don't think he should have lost it. It should definitely a no contest.
Yeah, it was an accident, but it's just the cringe parts when he's just pretending like it didn't happen.
Yeah, it's like, you elbowed him. You can feel when you elbow someone
like
compared to punching them.
It couldn't be clearer if you tried to set it up. I mean, it's so clear that the punch misses and he gets flushed with an elbow. But it's, I mean, the whole YouTube thing, I think for me, it's lost its luster. I mean...
Oh yeah,
what
was it? The what's his name? The overweight guy.
Oh, I don't know their names, but yeah, some super fat dudes.
Oh, well, he was a big YouTuber back in the day. I can't remember his name. Boogie, was it?
Yeah, I think his name was Boogie.
But yeah, that was, and then there was another fight that was awful. I can't remember who it was, but it was just so bad. I mean, the punches I could have thrown better. I've never trained boxing in my life, and I would have thrown probably similar punches. That's how bad it was. They clearly did zero training.
Yeah, I think it's just run its course. I mean, I can't see this sort of product having longevity how they want it to. I mean,
the only fight that will make any money is KSI, or serious money will be KSI Jake Paul. That's it. Yeah. Nothing else is going to make money.
But yeah, I think it's just
they know that as well. So they're just doing all these stupid filler things. So that because after the Jake Paul KSI fight, and it'll probably be a trilogy as well. After that, YouTube boxing will be dead. No one will be interested in anything because what are they going to do? They're going to fight.
It's just it was like cool to see people like fighting each other for a bit, but now it's like okay, they're not good at it, so it's not fun to watch. Like because we've seen they're never going to be good enough to be pros. That was like the thing. Oh, KSI and Jake Paul, they're going to be like fighting pros. Like this dude was not a pro.
Yeah,
he looked
I don't
like
know why they
grandpa.
I don't know what pro did he do. Like, what kind of did he have one pro fight when he was 18 and then just hasn't picked up gloves since? Like,
pretty much. Like, I don't think he's fought in a long time, and he's 40 now. So, but he looked awful. I mean, there's no way that guy's any semblance of a professional that's close to a world title.
Yeah.
And I mean, Tommy Fury just beat Jake, and now they're going to do Tommy Fury KSI. I'll be shocked if Tommy Fury loses that. I mean, because KSI fights like a fucking MMA fighter. He does the weird little... He fights like Wonder Boy with his hands down. Like, dude, you're going to get chinned if you fight someone good.
Yeah.
So, that's that.
That's that. Well, yeah, hopefully the YouTube box... No one's interested in it. Like, I would be interested in a KSI Jake Paul fight, but I'm not interested in anything else. I don't care. Okay? Stop doing friggin' Swarms. Like, who the fuck is Swarms? He just fought this guy, and now he's on every fucking YouTube boxing.
You don't want to run with me.
Oh, no. Like, so he's like some B-list, like it's some F-list fucking mixer that he used. Like some, soundtrack that he used in one of his songs. It's just, I don't know, crazy. Crazy to me that they just keep on going with this shit. Absolutely bananas.
Well, it's because they're all making heaps of money off it. So
how? Who's paying money for this?
Obviously, like DAZN, I guess they have a partnership with DAZN.
They have a partnership with DAZN, but who? How can they track? Surely there's not. Maybe. I mean, I guess because it's a subscription based sort of thing. Then.
Well, the pay per view was
if you already got DAZN.
The pay per view was like £30, which is like $60, I think. Yeah. In total, and they just did a fight on DAZN for free, like a proper boxing fight. I can't remember who it was, but they just did that for free, and then they charge for the YouTube fight like £20 extra. Yeah. So, I mean, it's probably because I guess there must be 10-year-olds asking their mum for it, and then they just get it.
Crazy. But yeah, I think that's it in the world of sport. Hope you enjoyed. Like, follow, subscribe. Quite an interesting sort of days today, actually, but an interesting week especially in the world of basketball. But yeah, hopefully the basketball playoffs are a good series, and hopefully Man United win the FA Cup. I don't know. I can't remember exactly. I think it's at the end of the month sometime, but yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, hopefully the Lakers get it done. I mean, let's go. LeBron, he's already the GOAT, but he's the GOAT after this season.
Do you think like everyone would recognise him as a GOAT if he won the championship?
No, they wouldn't. Like Stephen A's already said, I don't care what he does the rest of his career. I'm never calling him the GOAT.
Oh, that's so stupid.
But he is the GOAT, undeniably.
Yeah, he is the GOAT. I think he's definitely the GOAT now. Just to do what he's doing at his age and throughout his career, really. It's just crazy to me that people don't have him in at least the top two. If you have him outside the top two, you're just stupid. Kenny Smith. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed. Like, share, subscribe, and tune in for next week.
Yep. Thanks for watching.
Adios.
Peace.